Another all-new episode of Carolina Sports Talk starts now.
Can y'all feel that? Can you feel that thing that's oozing out your doggone hands? That thing is beating your doggone chest right now. Can you feel that?
Oh, lower abrupt, but nonetheless, we in ya. Welcome back to another episode of Carolina Sports Talk. It's your man, Big Cliff. As always, I'm joined by my man and yours, DJ Highstar. What's good with it, bro? Gotta make sure I get you.
Good. It's good, man. Yeah, absolutely. Carolina Sports Talk Nation, how y'all doing? Quick question for you before you even
before we off the rip. Go ahead.
Are you recording with everything?
I am not actually recording with everything. That is a wonderful question, and then I'm glad that you asked. So as we are taking the time,
live.
It's live studio. What you
I
want
didn't
to
want to hear this lady, y'all. So y'all get a little peek behind the fourth wall.
Yeah,
as people file in. You know what I mean? But we had to be punctual and keep it at 7:00. So, you know.
It's a live show. I mean, you live, you learn, you do things better. And it's also a nod to the last time that we tried to do a video show for you guys, that yours truly recorded all of the audio and none of the video. In this instance, the video was automatically riding because, we streaming. So, but in that instance, didn't have no audio recording. So I'll either have to go back and pick up some of this from the archives, if you would, online, because you are for those of you joining us, we appreciate it. Facebook Live, YouTube Live, we out here, and I got some audio now, so yes, we are in fact recording everything. Thank you, DJ Highstar.
All right, well, resume with what you was gonna say.
Now back to what we was talking about before, Doc. How you been, my guy? It's been a little minute.
I'm good, man. I'm good. Just making sure all my friends stay up and picking them up where they need picking up at.
Already.
Assistance. But I did DJ this past weekend. The night before the Super Bowl, the theme was Freaknik or whatnot. Yeah, man. But shout out to JoJo, definitely, and happy birthday to her. I tried my best to look like Jamie Foxx in Players Club.
Happy birthday to him.
Her.
I don't care.
Her. But I tried to dress the part for the most part. With Freaknik, the guys is just more or less 90s. All right, just dress 90s in hip hop. So, but
overall, you was out there, did the thing. That's what's up. Happy birthday to everybody.
Usual.
Well, dog, it's been a minute since we've been on the show. You know what I mean? It had a little hiatus. That vid got your boy a little TT.
Patriot Patty.
Shout out to Patriot Patty. You know what I'm saying? We in Patriot Patty Studios out here in the building.
Quick.
Zoom by.
Yeah. You'd have missed it if you wasn't looking.
In the meantime, in between time since our last show, there is a pretty big football game that was played, man. The Super Bowl 57 took place out there in Arizona with the Kansas City Chiefs taking care of business against the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, those of you who follow us on social media, you saw that your boy picked the Eagles. Didn't quite go the way I expected it to. Overall, it was a good game, bro. I'll start with you, though. What were your thoughts with the Super Bowl, man?
First and foremost, like you said, it was a great game. A lot of people that had the Eagles, hats off to them as far as the season goes, but we're just playing a competitive game and stuff like that. And to the audience, they can forgive the white undershirt. I know I'm looking a little like Jamal Charles right now, but
that's exactly. The mock turtleneck action is kind of it's going on right now.
Kansas City Chiefs.
I see what you did there.
But
on his feet.
So as far as the game goes, though, and I'm sure that we'll get to it, though, it wasn't. Although that the end of the game was what it was, there were a number of pivotal moments throughout the game that Kansas City took advantage of. That Philadelphia, had where they had the mistakes, Kansas City capitalized on the mistakes.
Absolutely. Overall, to me, it was a good game. I enjoyed the play overall. I'm gonna just go ahead and jump into it. I hate when we get to the end of a game and the referees determine the outcome. I'm gonna skip all of the good plays. I'm gonna skip the fact that Jalen Hurts looks like he's really that kind of guy. I'm gonna skip the fact that there were points, root to the bros, that there were points throughout the game where I felt like this guy is really gonna take this game over. Philly getting ready. I was getting ready to text you. I resisted the urge to go ahead and start making the graphic because it happened to me in the national championship the last time the Tar Heels were in it. And I was like, oh man, we got this. And I went ahead and made the graphic and was ready to put it out. And they lost. You see what I'm saying?
Villanova?
No. It was after that. No. This was I forget who we at that point. It was a loss and it was out of my mind. I want to say it was in 21. But nonetheless, whichever year it was, I made the graphic and it was an L. I had to like just sit on it, pause, and it's sitting still in. Hey, yo, relax. It's still sitting over there in the. Hey, it is what it is. But no, it's still sitting in the bucket. This time I was like, nah. Even though Philly got this, I'm gonna just still chill. And then the play happened, and we can jump into it. For those of you who may have missed it, in the fourth quarter, there was a play where what's TikTok boy's name? Juju Smith-Schuster was
that's one be easy.
Shout out to Be Easy. No, so Juju Smith-Schuster's coming off the line. He's being covered by James Bradbury. There was a slightest of just a little of a pull, tug, whatever you want to call it, and the referees flagged him for defensive holding.
Wait. You said the slightest of a what?
Of a little.
If we're gonna call it that, then it was two. It was a it was two.
But even in that, even if it was it was barely anything, and it's something that happens on every call. And I get it that they miss calls sometimes, that they just let stuff ride. And I know that they, by the letter of what the law is, it could technically have been possibly, potentially a holding call. But at the end of the day, no, dude, you don't got to look at me, bro. Now, at the end of the day, it was not a call that should have been made. If they wanted to call something, they could have called false start on Philly's right tackle, who was jumping every play of the game. They didn't call that, so why would they call that in that instance? To me, it's just an opportunity to just keep your flag in your pocket and allow the field play and the play on the field to be able to dictate the ultimate winner of the game. To me, it feels like it cheapened the Super Bowl. That was a really good game. I'm not saying it just because I picked Philly. I'm saying it because, like, at the end of the day, I like the fact that Mahomes is the new Patriots, the new Tom Brady, and I like where that's going for the league. There's a new face, but for me, that's not a call that you make in that situation and in that moment to decide the game.
Tribble's on. Shout out to Tribble. He said, "Put the tape on." That's BS. And he said, he was just double moving them all second half, or whatnot, and pretty much said like.
But even if that's the case, if they had been doing it and getting double moved, and if he was beating them, if he wasn't beating them, whatever the case, nonetheless, you do not, especially because it did that particular play, the ball was uncatchable anyway. It's not something that dictated and or shifted like the actual call itself, prohibiting the play. And so there's still several scenarios in which the Kansas City Chiefs could have taken and still driven, still scored, kicked a field goal, whatever, to have gotten the same outcome and still won the game. But to me, to give them that, it essentially sealed the victory before there was even a chance for the Eagles to do anything with it.
Right. So a couple things with that. So had that not been called or whatnot, first and foremost, I agree to a certain extent. I think that the ball was uncatchable as well. But who's to say? Or whatever, was
it not catchable as a result of the actual hold?
Right. You know what I'm trying to say. No,
I'm asking you. Do you feel like he held him enough that it wasn't? That's the reason it wasn't catchable.
No, because
exactly
just how their momentum was going, it didn't look like he was on like a trajectory to be able to make it to that ball. The way that
he bailed him out.
And well, and the fact that it was called, I hate it as much as you do and stuff like that. But then again, just playing it out, we are then asking Butner to kick a field goal that's 15 yards deeper or whatever maybe. All right, so lessen the possibility of that, but then again, the probability of that. But then still, if he hits that, then we're also asking Jalen Hurts then to just come back with with more time on the clock, in other words.
Yeah.
Because one thing that I will say at the beginning of the Super Bowl, I said it'll come down to who has the ball last. That's one thing I said.
Okay.
And Ashton, whenever you listen to this, he can quote me on that. But I think that the time left, again, we're asking for a miracle from Jalen Hurts in that situation, or we're asking for great sports theater in that situation.
Yes.
Of course. But at the same time, it's just how much did that play change the outcome versus some of the other plays that the Chiefs made, again, capitalizing on some of the mistakes of the Eagles. So a lot of people point out the crossover, like I like to call it. Oh, that's what I was teasing Ashton with on game night, because that's what it looked like immediately. It was a pass the peas like we used to.
He's out there hitting Tuskegee.
Exactly. But when he did that, so yeah, that happened. And the Eagles rebounded. He even rebounded and showing resiliency with that.
Right.
But the Tony, that whole punt situation, that was a bizarre, like one of those bizarro plays throughout the Super Bowl, like, in Super Bowls that
like turn momentums
exactly.
and stuff like that. And I'll see that. I give you all of the whole crossover, fumble, scoop and score. I give you all. There were several plays throughout that game that could have been momentum, that one way or another, anything like that. But in that instance, those were all plays that took place on the field. Those were all the players who had been spending the last 18 weeks of their lives out there getting to that point. To have a referee, somebody who is not even on the field and involved in the game, technically, but you know what I'm saying, to not have one of the players to be able to dictate that. Yes, it would have taken a Herculean effort by Jalen Hurts and the rest of the Philadelphia Eagles to get down there and score. They may not have. There may have been a 3 and out. There may have been a 1,000 different scenarios, but to not even be given that opportunity as a result of something that is so phantom, for me, it cheapened the game. We think back to this full football season. How many games that the Bengals have played in that have been good games? How many games that the Bills have been in that have gone down to the wire? The Bills and the Rams game. All of these were great games because it gave them the opportunity, knowing the scenario, to actually go on the field and perform. To not even have that chance, I feel like, not as a Philadelphia Eagle fan, because again, I'm not, even though I picked them to win, I don't got no monkey in it. I don't care who won ultimately. As a football fan, to be robbed of that opportunity to just see good football play on the field, that for me is where it was, bro.
Man,
so
we saw 4 quarters of good football.
I saw 3.5 quarters. 3 and 3 quarters.
I was say 3 and 7/8 quarters of football. And then, it does also bring you back to what you guys had to, as Lakers fans, what you guys had to go through, a couple weeks ago or whatnot. But that's the part, and
you're saying it's a part of sports. We just need to get used to the referees.
Not get used to it, no, and don't just relax on the narrative drawing. No, because what you're saying is no.
Go ahead, give me your point. Give me your point. Give me your point. Go ahead.
It is something that happens, and again, as fans, we end up on one side of it or the other a lot of times. It stinks, like you said, to be robbed of that, but that's an element that exists right now. Like, do we have solutions that we in these type of things, when they happen? It seems like there haven't been any kind of lobbying or anything like that to find solutions to these type of scenarios where by public opinion and everybody can see that something's happened. I mean, I guess like referee unions and stuff like that have like corrective measures on certain things, right? Or
not, for the NFL, not particularly, because at the end of the day, they're not full-time employees.
Got you.
And I think that in itself is one way to be able to correct a lot of the problems. Make being a referee for the National Football League a full-time position.
To give Jalen Hurts 45 more seconds.
So that we don't have to worry about football games being ended based on the call of an official, somebody who's not on the field.
Maybe because it's not, maybe because that call is just not consistent. Perhaps
there's a lot of different.
If they were calling ticky-tack stuff all game, then could you?
Then I might not have had an issue with it. But because again, I saw so many, and you know what? Thank you, brother. I appreciate that. Because the boy was not consistent throughout the whole thing. Yeah, I felt some kind of way about it. Like I said, I watched the Eagles. I want to say Lane was the right tackle on just about every. Now, granted, he had Frank come across that line real fast, like several times throughout the game. It's just the fact that it wasn't consistent and there were so many other missed calls. And that's a call that on a religious time you see not being called. What we got coming in from the audience? It looked like.
So shout out to Gerald Amica. He says, "Come on, CJ, you still talking about that hold call? That was a hold call." All right. Then Ben said, or Triple said, Philly number one defense got them robbed. Maybe I'm reading that in the wrong cadence, but Philly the number one defense.
Yeah. So now to answer both of those points,
he said, "Was that a hold? Yes or no?" That's maybe he's talking to me. But yes, I say yes. True.
So yes, it was a hold. No, it shouldn't have been called.
Okay.
Listen,
I was
said
surprised
it.
that you said it. Okay.
No, I don't mind saying it because I actually commented to one of my boys back home who talked about it. And it's like, yo, for you to be a sports guy, I'm surprised that you was like, listen, I know it was completely self-serving. Like I wouldn't 1000% admit that it wasn't about me wanting Philly to win or anything like that. And as a matter of fact, I'm gonna give some shout out to the Kansas City Chiefs. Gerald Amica is actually a Chiefs fan, so I'm gonna give, because my dog is watching, I'm gonna go ahead and give him the love to acknowledge his team won. I'm not taking nothing away from them. It's not to say that Kansas City, like the conspiracy and nothing like that, even though, like I said, they may be the new Patriots and we know how the league felt about them. But nonetheless, at the end of the day, it's exclusively because of the inconsistency and them not being able to see some more extra good football, bro. That could have been legendary for you know what I'm saying, Hurts to come down, bang bang, score the thing, tie the game. We go into overtime for the Super. Like, I want more football. At the end of the day, I now have to wait a couple of weeks till the USFL starts to get some football. And who knows what the quality of play is going to be like for that. So shout out once again to the Kansas City Chiefs for winning the Super Bowl.
That was gambling, had the Eagles or whatever. And was very boisterous, I got whatever on the Eagles and stuff like that. So I'm wondering, who took up some of those bets or whatnot.
Right. Who got paid, who didn't?
My office, for my job, they're in like a part of Pennsylvania that's like 30 minutes from Philadelphia. And so all
of them was locked in. Hurt feelings, tight the next day. So before we jump off the Super Bowl, I do want to ask you this. 2 and 4 years, Patrick Mahomes now is, or as some on ESPN call him, the Hall of Famer Patrick Mahomes now has 2 Super Bowls in 4 years. Doesn't look like he's slowing down. Andy Reid is doing his thing. Eric Bieniemy has turned down other jobs for the opportunity to stick around. Do you now establish him as one of the all-time greats already? Do you feel like he needs to win a couple more? Or ultimately, let me shape the question. Where do you rank Patrick Mahomes in the all-time pinnacle of great quarterbacks?
The most important word in that phrase is time. And that's what it's really going to take ultimately. Granted, he has done a lot with this small sample size and stuff that we have from him. Longevity means a lot. You look at a team like the Bills, right? Their first Super Bowl or whatever, like that appearance, they probably like, you know what? We got this. we
this.
Could, and by the time they got to their 4th one, we probably, we got this. And some guys is like, yo,
nah,
we ain't got it. Now, granted,
that's different.
Again, he has got those W's. Got Andy Reid 2 rings, making the $500 million investment look good right now and stuff. But you know how fickle football fans are and stuff. And then also we always gotta think optimistically when it comes to health of those players, because we see how high contact of a sport it is and everything like that. So like I said, the most important word in that whole phrase is time. Honestly, I can't. It's just like if Glorilla just came out or whatever, and they're like, "Yo, is she in the all-time?" Right? Like, let Shorty cook. Now, granted, it's a false parallel. It's very bad, but I'm just saying, in the scheme of things, he's a young guy that's doing his thing. He's the leader of the pack. You feel me? Which is great because anytime, any year, what we're in for the next 5 to 10 years, as far as football goes, if anybody is knocking him off his throne, It's going to be one of those guys, though. It's going to be a Burrow. It's going to be
Herbert.
Jalen Hurts. It's going to be Herbert. It's going to be one of those guys. And then if you want to get your name in these ranks, if you one of the younger guys that's out there, CJ Stroud or like Arch Manning or any of these younger guys that's coming up, you know that you're going to have.
He's the one you're gunning for.
Because I was thinking about how Phillip Rivers and Peyton Manning probably, post games, if you ever playing Tom Brady and you're playing Tom Brady multiple times throughout these years and the games mean this much or that much or this much or that much, but at the end of those games when he got that victory over you, what's those conversations like? You know what I'm saying? Burrow know that he got as many over Mahomes that he do, but Mahomes got some that matter. So it's like both of them could talk trash to each other if they want, you know what I'm saying? So these guys is coming up and remind me of that era that when we was in high school or college of the Phillip Rivers, the Peyton Mannings, the
Eli's,
Donovan McNabb, even like, you know what I'm saying? When all of those guys was coming up and fighting for position. So it's a promising future for him, but I can't put an all-time label on him right now.
Here's why I can. Even with the small sample size that we have, it's hard to get to a Super Bowl. Agreed. As a Carolina Panthers fan, and knowing that in the 27 years of our franchise's existence, we've been 3 times. Tom Brady went to 10 Super Bowls and won 7 of them. That is what qualifies him in my book as the greatest quarterback of all time. You can say what you want about the teams, about the way that the system is, but ultimately the franchise allowed him to be great, but he possesses the skills and did what was necessary to be the best and greatest quarterback of all time. Now, if we're looking at Patrick Mahomes, in 4 years, he has been to 4 of them and won 2. So in my book, he is already up in that upper echelon. You think about how many amazing, and I see you are very much wanting to give me what the comments are going. Just hold on, we're gonna get there.
But like, go and land that plane.
If you look at Cam Newton, if you go further back, if you look at Dan Marino, Phillip Rivers, all of these other quarterbacks who have never been to one, other quarterbacks that have only had the opportunity to get to one, for you, no matter what the franchise and all the other things, for you to be a part of a team that goes to multiple and then still to have won as many as you have, it dictates something of your level of greatness. What we got coming in from the comments, man?
Well, starting off with Tribble, he does say, he said, man, Mahomes had a flu game, basically. And
because they talk on the ankle
penalty, LOL. And shout out to A. Liz. Said, we all wanted to see the black quarterback win. She said, we all wanted to see the black quarterback win. I wonder if there's any layers to what she's saying with that.
First of all, if we know that, knowing who that is, we know that there are multiple layers to what she's saying.
Tribble, right, I'm going to keep it moving real quick. Tribble came back and he said AFC is too stacked with young quarterbacks. I think that might have been during my little diatribe. And then Street Poetry, shout out to him. He said, who has he surpassed in the line of greats? And then before you answer that, shout out to Dr. Shannon Smith, who left a heart emoji. Got him blushing, mama.
Hey, yo, first of all, relax. Hey, y'all, let my mama, man. My mama out here watching the show, bro. Shout out, mama. That's my mama, man. We want my mama, man.
Yeah,
that's my mother, man. Nah, but so much to wow. Starting with Commodore's question, who has he passed in the pantheon of greatness? I am willing to say that in this point in his career, Patrick Mahomes is a better quarterback than Eli Manning. At this point in his career, I would take Patrick Mahomes over who else has won. Matter of fact, I'm going to pull it up.
Let's relax.
I'm going to pull up quarterbacks who have won Super Bowls, and I'm sure that there are several that I'm going to take him above and ahead of, because at the end of the day, you're not going to like this. I know you're not going to like this.
I say Peyton Manning.
I'm going to take him over Peyton Manning.
All right,
I'm taking, not just because of the regular season, because if it's regular season, Peyton, your Dan Marinos, those are guys that you want to rock with. But I'm taking him over him. I'm taking him over Terry Bradshaw.
Y'all.
I'm taking him, like, I'm just saying, and I'm not being a prisoner of the moment. I'm taking him. I wouldn't take him over Joe Montana. I wouldn't take him over Troy Aikman yet. I'm definitely taking him over Steve Young, because at the end of the day, it is what it is.
I relayed the message.
No,
talk to your phone now. Pull your phone up.
No, we over here now. But let's get back to the video. I'm talking to y'all out here.
Y'all and aggression, y'all.
But no, I honestly, if we're talking all-time greats, I do put Patrick Mahomes above some like your Peyton Mannings of the world at this point.
Time you said, I heard it your first time.
Yeah.
We good.
For those who don't realize it out there, he's a Peyton Manning fan,
my man.
like that.
That's
You know what I
my
mean?
man.
That's your means. Would you say that that Mahomes is a top 10 at this point in his career?
Bro,
I'm asking you.
Exactly.
I'm coming out with the
and
putting you on the spot. What'd you say?
top 10. I have to start counting. You know, top 10 black quarterback.
No.
Oh, okay.
Top 10 all-time quarterbacks. Is it just yes or no? Just off the top of your head, live.
Because even we're all right.
It's not that hard.
It's
just a
definitely
yes.
top 15.
That's lukewarm enthusiasm, sir. He is a top 10 quarterback at this point in his career, and he's not done. I don't want him to keep winning them because that means the Panthers ain't winning some. And we're going to talk about that. We're not going to jump into to the outcomes of what we're looking at just yet. We'll talk a little bit about the Panthers in a moment, but there's a lot of football that is going to be affected by them winning this year, I believe. Mm-hmm. And I think his legacy is concreted and that he is the next greatest.
Okay. Any favorite moments from the Super Bowl? Got my man the Heart just came in. He said, "You're triple ass. Is he better than Steve Young?"
Yes.
Okay, Adrian Griffin. She says, you see how we just get past that triple question? Shout out triple. Nah, but just gonna keep the moment. And he said, "You are the prisoner of the moment." He did put the little side emoji. Adrian Griffin said, "I need some Carolina Talk merch." Tribble said, "So am I. I'm better than Eli." So yeah, he said top 15, yes. Top 10, no. Shout out to Tribble for that. And
you know what? We're coming to you one day soon on the regular pod. We're going to talk about it, and we're going to list our top 10 quarterbacks of all time. If you got some that you want to drop to us, go ahead and get your list together. You can email the show, cliff@carolinasportstalk.net. Let us know who your top 10 quarterbacks are of all time. I'm telling you right now, spoiler alert, he's in my top 10. Patrick Mahomes is up there. You know who's not in my top 10? Cam Newton. But go ahead.
Yeah. So any other favorite moments from the Super Bowl or whatnot for you as far as commercials? Did you get caught up on the Tubi commercial?
Only because
I look back like, yo, Ashton, stop. You're sitting on.
Stop playing what you got. The only reason it didn't get me is because I was on my iPad watching. I was on my iPad Mac Pro watching, and I was just like, okay, what? Oh, this is a commercial. Mm-hmm. And then that and the fact that they had different clothes on. So, but I will say that was my favorite one because it's like, oh, y'all tried it. Yeah. Okay. A lot of the other ones it's at this point, it feels like they're trying too hard. I get it. It's the Super Bowl. I get it that you're paying, I think it was like $3.9 million per 15 seconds or whatever it is at this point. But I wasn't a fan of a bunch of them this year.
You were quarantined this year?
Yeah, so for those of you who may not have known,
I ain't mean to spoil it like that, but it followed my question. But go ahead.
Yeah, so I'm just getting over COVID. That's why we didn't record last week. Your boy was down bad. Those who have listened to the show, your regulars, you know that I had a serious bout with it back in 2020, as some may say, with the OG COVID. This new junior varsity COVID is a little different. Shout out to everybody, but it still had me down for a week and some change. So I was definitely quarantined during the time.
No, and I was asking because, again, just asking about the particular Super Bowl parties. I heard somewhere that 5 million extra people began watching for halftime, specifically. So, and I was just going to ask, do you feel like with this year's halftime performer, did the ladies outweigh the men at the Super Bowl parties for the most part? Without
doubt. There were T-shirts that were made, and
to get the free Rihanna concert, right?
Bing! There were T-shirts that were made was "Go Sports, I'm here for Rihanna." And so, there's no doubt, it's not as bad as the Beehive, but there are a lot of folks who literally just turned in. Like, I know, even if you think back to years with Janet Jackson and you can take my job, Justin Timberlake. There were some who tuned in exclusively for that. There may be some who tuned in football just to hear the Who. Doubt it, but you know what I'm saying?
I'm taking shots. Yeah. So shout out to A-Liz. She said, "Cause get his sister get a shirt." She's the same. Adrian get his sister get a shirt. But then also DeAndre Jennings, Neo, you know what I'm saying? He on some Europe. So
shout out to all you guys listening. This is Carolina Sports Talk, our very first live Carolina Sports Talk. We're coming to you from Patriot Patty Studio, Charlotte, North Carolina. For all of you guys who checking out the Carolina Sports Talk merch, you can absolutely get those shirts. We'll make sure to drop the link in the bio so you guys can hit it up. And if you're listening to the podcast, they're in that link as well.
Shout out to everybody on YouTube as well. My main Dope Digitals. He
shout out.
Went ahead and commented on YouTube as well. Yeah, man. So outside of
we got to get Dope Digitals back. It's been too long since he's been on the show, man. Shout out to Trey, man. We got to get him back on.
I definitely agree. So I mean, again, we're not going to talk about the baby in the room. I'm saying as far as the proverbial baby in the room. What was your thoughts about that? I mean, I don't mean to turn this into the gossip cast, but Rihanna.
It's like the baby in the room.
It's for my lady listeners out there and all the Rihanna fans.
Yes. So, she absolutely about Rihanna in a little bit later during Big Deal, No Thing. But yeah, when I was watching, I was like, she's not doing a whole bunch of dancing. She's not doing like what I expected. And then I saw, and actually, again, because I was watching it on the iPad, and I want to say during halftime is when I actually went out to walk the dogs. And so when I did, I was looking on the phone at that point. I was like, nah, shorty got a bump in there. Like, and I could tell it at that point. But she absolutely did announce her pregnancy there and confirmed it on the Breakfast Club the next morning that she is expecting her second baby. Something like, listen, I'm gonna tell you like this, and I'm not gonna name no names because they're related to me real close, my sister. People are out here waiting these periods that they're supposed to be waiting after having a baby to go ahead and, you know what I mean? So shout out to Rihanna. They got a newborn, another newborn, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So shout out to them. Matter of fact, shout out to all the babies being born, man, replenishing the earth. Food, multiplying. Now, before you get back into the comments, I'm going to ask you.
I'm not even about to read no comments, but go ahead.
What was your favorite commercial and or even favorite moment of the Super Bowl period?
Yeah, no, without a doubt, the most memorable commercial was the little Tubi commercial with his dad, and that's the one that stood out the most for me. There's a lot of,
Years and theirs.
Beer runs and sandwich runs going on. So it wasn't, as far as the commercials go. When it comes to Rihanna's situation, boom, I see that. And the ladies that was at the Super Bowl party, they're saying, oh my God. And I was like, yeah, but let's relax. She just had the baby. And I know Rihanna.
You didn't want to make no assumptions.
Turned up right after the baby dropped. And that might be a nice,
nah.
Heineken belt. Relax. Let me go through my process real quick. So then I said, no, it's the Super Bowl. And if it's
Rihanna.
Exactly. They're going to have a 6-pack out. Bang, bang, bang. If, just to show that, I just had this baby and now I look like this. So then I was like, okay, yeah, maybe perhaps.
She's probably good.
Yeah. And then the other thing that amazed me was the heights thing. I mean, you're seeing it on TV, but I know if I was in person, that would just be
amazing.
Nuts.
Now, did you catch the guy who almost fell off one of the platforms? There's videos.
I wasn't out there to catch him. Oh no, he didn't fall.
Exactly. There are videos out there on social media. One of the platforms immediately to the right of where Rihanna was, there was a guy who did a move, and when he went to pop one time, I guess it rocked a little too much because they were literally just suspended by cables. But he popped one time too many and stumbled and fell backwards and was about 1 foot away from falling off that platform that was about 120 feet in the air. That would have been a tragedy. That's the last thing the Super Bowl needs. I don't think they'll have anybody suspended in the air after that anymore. So shout out to them boys, man.
Triple said ghetto twins. Now the other thing, and that's
I am one.
I don't know how controversial this is. This is my last even saying on the Super Bowl. Again, with the set, with the set and everything, they said that all of her dancers, because a lot of people criticize and ridicule how the dancers looked and stuff for whatever reason. But some people said it's proverbially
Boy. Say it.
Men of the sea.
Bro, just say what you're saying.
Men of the sea, seamen.
Oh, these guys. Here's the thing.
And it's a symbol of her being
and
pregnant
then
and
the babies.
Reproduction.
Wow.
Men of the sea. I'm glad that we live. So
y'all see what I got to deal with every week. This is what I got to deal with.
That's my last comment on the Super Bowl.
Now, that's whack. Now, I will say this. we as a people, as a society, have gotten to a point where if you don't like something that everybody else like, you're wrong. And then on social media, folks feel like they can just kind of ridicule. Yo, if you liked it, you liked it. Go off, do your thing. If you didn't, don't like it and keep it pushing. You know what I mean? It ain't really got to be that serious. I, for one, like I said, before I realized that she was pregnant.
Huh? Well, go ahead. I was asking, what do you think about my theory?
I wouldn't put it down past him because, like, the
That's
way
beautiful art right there.
The way people do things, I wouldn't have put it. Do you understand? Did you, when I put my people out there in the men of the sea and I am reproducing? Do you, like, I could definitely hear that conversation going on, especially, you know what I mean? But nonetheless, back to folks in social media, you know what I mean? It was, I didn't like it at first. I'm not gonna lie. I was like, yo, why she not dancing? Like, she sounded good. Shout out to Rihanna. I'm a big Rihanna fan. Like, Riri used to be my girl, you feel me? But like, I was like, why she not dancing? And then I realized, oh, she's with child. Mm-hmm. Then I was like, oh, it's cool for what it is. Now, shout out to all those people who got the hurt feelings, thought that they were going to get a tour coming up. Nah, y'all going to get some baby shower gifts is what y'all going to get. Ain't no tour coming up. She might potentially drop a new album, maybe. Probably not, but you know what I mean? Shout out to Rihanna, man.
You know the discussion question that we had or whatever. Should we save that?
Now, as a matter of fact, now let's go ahead. And so we're going to go out normally with the flow of the program. We NBA, NFL, and then we jump into emails and your questions, and then we do a big deal, no thing. But let's go ahead and throw this one in here since it is applicable right now. So our first big deal, no thing of the evening states, Rihanna did not get paid for the Super Bowl. Big deal or no thing? What you say, bro?
No thing.
Nah, that ain't no thing. I'm gonna say no thing as well. Why you say? Nah, that ain't no thing.
It's something that is kind of known around with regards to the performances at the Super Bowl. That is similar to the award shows and stuff like that. That it's assumed that it's for the look and for the exposure. I don't know the exact numbers, but as far as the streaming music wise, I believe it was like 564% that it increased, but it was something ridiculous. And then the Fenty site, traffic or whatever was up like 864%. So we're talking about astronomical numbers and stuff like that, exponential numbers. So that is definitely she got the value out of the performance. You know what I'm saying? Especially when you think about it, a lot of the Super Bowl acts. Let's take last year's out, but you'll hear it when they release it. Like, oh, this year we got Bon Jovi, and then you'll be like, cricket, or you'll be like, even like and this is all respect to all of them, but even like J-Lo, Shakira, and you'll be like, it's just okay. But then after, it's like they almost coming from obscurity, almost, and maybe a good conversation was had, or there was a relationship that was forged, or
Jay-Z
networking. Right, of course.
Him working with the NFL is the reason we get in these shows.
But I'm saying that connection brings a lot of artists, like gives them that push back. You know what I'm saying? To, of course, outside of that song that she has for Wakanda Forever or whatever like that. If
I'm so glad that she didn't sing.
Right, but if she had any other music or singles that she wanted to go ahead and promote or get, rocking, all she would have had to do was, perform a snippet of it or whatnot, and it would be out of here. So she got that, that kickstart that the Super Bowl provides for people like her. Now, granted, her fan base is never going to let her name die, and she's not going to go into obscurity. But I'm saying she was away for a minute, of course, with the pregnancy and stuff. Mm-hmm. And it was like, now I'm back on camera and in the best way possible.
Just before I go back again for a little while, but
that's no thing.
So I agree, and I say it's no thing. If you think about it, traditionally, the halftime show went from just a regular halftime to them adding extra time and it growing. If we take a look at the list of the last several performers, Rihanna this year, Dr. Dre, Eminem, and them last year, the Weeknd the year before, Shakira, J-Lo, Bad Bunny, J Balvin, then the year before, Maroon 5, Travis Scott, Big Boy, the year before, Justin Timberlake and the Tennessee Kids, Lady Gaga. So if you look, it's been consistently a list of big namers, and the one consistent thing is, after every one of them performed, they would go and drop their tour. Like we were just talking about, sorry for the Rihanna fans not getting it. That's kind of the thing. They come and perform, and then they get to go on tour, and they capitalize off of that momentum and notoriety. If you think about it, last year's halftime show, which was one of the bigger ones, it had an average of 103.4 million people watching. This year with Rihanna, 118.7. That's 118.7 million people across the world who watched her and made her trending. And like you said, all of that traffic then to this website, to her music. And so although she didn't get paid for it, she probably could have paid for it and still made a buku bunch of money.
Artists have done that too.
Exactly.
They said his artist, I think The Weeknd, he might have put out his own money. They said Dr. Dre spent his own money to even so they're paying to perform essentially.
Paying for advertising. You got to pay to play sometimes. And I get it. But overall, on a 1 to 10, and we'll close out on the Super Bowl. 1 to 10, what do you rate this year's Super Bowl?
9.
I probably would have said a 9 if they hadn't called that call. As a result, I'm gonna say 8.6.
I would have said 10 if they hadn't called that call.
I'm gonna give it an 8.6, man. But that is going to do it for our NFL coverage. We'll talk a little bit more about the Carolina Panthers doing big deal, no thing. But dog,
hell, shout out to everybody asking, Triple ask as well, where can they get the merch, man?
You know what? We're gonna put matter of fact, we're gonna put the link in the bio, man. And
a good idea
put the link.
I put out there to you that we wear these shirts today. Go ahead.
He didn't say that, y'all.
Some sound effects work. You was nervous about using them and stuff.
This guy here. Well, since you want to do so much talking, man, there was a lot of stuff going on in the NBA, man. This trade deadline, and I know we missed it. It's a little bit late, but we want to recap it with you guys. Again, I had COVID. What you want me to do? But let's talk a little bit about some of those trades that have happened in the NBA.
Before bringing up the trades, though, I did want to show some love and some reverence to the man, LeBron James. You know.
For what?
Is this thing on? We're live. For what?
Go ahead. I got my thoughts on it.
Me too.
Go ahead.
I got a lot of thoughts on it. Well, not a lot, but shout out to him for passing Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. I don't have all of the, y'all know I'm the barbershop guy. I don't have the
stats and the numbers.
56,000.
Yeah, go ahead.
I don't know what the number is, but
I'll pull it for you.
Shout out to him for passing the record. Like I said, as far as stats wise, we're bound to see this, or it was bound to happen because how the game has changed, of course, popularity of the 3-pointer and what that has changed to the game, free throws and
3-point, even the 3-pointer, the weight, the speed, all of that. There's so many things that go into it.
Absolutely. And then, and this is a second tier conversation, but the whole, praise about the assists. We've talked about that on the side.
On a previous episode as well.
Numbers can be seen as skewed or whatever like that. So I mean, but salute to him though. That's it's indicative of his longevity, and the greatness, the consistency of greatness. So
and for that, I will acknowledge him. For those of you who are joining us who don't know, I am a Carolina Panthers fan. I'm a Los Angeles Lakers fan. I'm not a LeBron James fan. I don't like LeBron. I understand. Yes, he's got us a championship from the bubble and all of that. Every one of these milestones he's accomplished throughout this season have come in losing efforts. Every time that he breaks somebody's record or passes somebody else for something, it's in a losing effort. All of the trades and all of that noise and that little spark of excitement and enthusiasm that I had at the end of the trade deadline, when I thought, man, we might actually have a chance to kind of, it all went out of the window because now he's got this record and hadn't played a game since. He's been dealing with some ankle injury that, oh man, I'm just gonna, and I understand load management. I understand, but bro, I'm so sick of LeBron James being a member of the Los Angeles Lakers. I'm at a point where I'm ready for him to transition so that we can either, whether it be with D'Lo, if it's AD, even though I'm thinking he probably is going at this point because there's some reports out there that LeBron tried to get AD traded to get KD in a Los Angeles Lakers uniform. That didn't come. He found out, so now he's salty.
It makes sense why LeBron hasn't been seen on the court with AD.
Now, them boy not cool no more.
AD again,
wasn't happy.
Do the math.
See what I'm saying? See what I'm saying?
Professor Cliff.
Now, at the end of the day, I get it, and I respect the fact that, you know what I mean? If I'm LeBron James, yes, I want KD over AD too. Mm-hmm. But you got to understand that if things like that don't go, how are you now going to be able to sustain? If we don't see LeBron James play another game in the remainder of this season, we know now.
Yeah.
all I care about is what happens to the Los Angeles Lakers as a franchise. If LeBron James was like, yo, man, I'm sitting out and I'm going to, I don't know, play for Portland next year. Bye, bruh. Gone. We gonna holler. Period.
Right. Hey, you should while I kind of discuss some of these trades, pull up your Facebook and see what the people are talking about. But speaking of the Lakers and stuff, they are a new looking squad, if you will. You guys may know what the trade deadline was February the 9th.
Last week.
Oh, okay. The Lakers actually traded Westbrook to the Jazz in a 3-team deal where the Lakers received D'Angelo Russell, D'Lo, Malik Beasley, Jared Vanderbilt. The Timberwolves received some second-round picks, Mike Conley and Nickeil Alexander-Walker. And the Jazz received Russell Westbrook, Juan Toscano-Anderson, Damian Jones, and a 2027 first-round pick. So that was the Lakers trade. But the big trade that was the big domino that made the splash and everything, the Suns actually landed Kevin Durant in a 4-team deal where the Phoenix Suns received Kevin Durant and TJ Warren. The Nets received Mikal Bridges and Cam Johnson, Juan Pablo Volette, a bunch of first-round picks. I think like 5. Yeah, it's about 5 or 6 first-round picks from the various teams from Phoenix and stuff. And then Milwaukee threw in 2 second-round picks. And then the Bucks received Jay Crowder. The Pacers also received George Hill, Serge Ibaka, and Jordan Nwora. Some other notables, the Charlotte Hornets have Reggie Jackson. The Clippers received Mason Plumlee. And we also picked up a 2028 second-round pick from the Clippers. Any others that stood out to you? I know the Knicks, we got Josh Hart. We got rid of Cam Reddish. He went to the Trailblazers. There's a lot of movement going on before that. But the biggest, again, thing to fall was, of course, KD. I'm remiss, of course, if I'm not mentioning Kyrie to
the
Dallas,
domino that started it all.
Right, exactly. And so, what stood out for you? This is overwhelming right now for me to even try to, you know what I'm saying? So
it's a lot, and it honestly feels like training camp all over again. Because in the offseason how there are so many trades, and even with the way that the league has been formatted and has been going the last couple of years, there's not been a whole lot of movement at the trade deadline. And so for the Kyrie domino to have fallen, and then from there we see everybody else kind of afterwards, it feels like it's going to take at least a month before we even realize, wait, he's here now? Right. Now, we know in the past we've talked about the fans who don't even know, what I'm saying, who's on which roster, but there's been so much movement, it's going to take a while to digest it. But if I take a look at your question, or to answer it most fully, I think it's those who didn't make moves that stand out to me more. Of the 30 teams in the league, only 28 of them made moves. The most glaring that stood out to me was the Sacramento Kings. For them to not have made any moves shows that they're comfortable and confident with where they are. If we're looking at it, where are they sitting right now in the standings? I think they maybe, as the last time I looked, they were like a 4th or 5th seed. That, yeah. And they're still winning. I know a couple of weeks ago I say how they weren't beating anybody.
They're a 3 seed right now behind Memphis.
They're beating folks, and they are quietly playing really good basketball. Now, whether this is going to be something that's going to be able to sustain through the playoffs, because we know your LeBrons, they step up and get into, listen, it's like that. You feel me?
It's like that. I just got over it.
You relax. Exactly. I got 3 negative tests out there, baby. Now I'm talking about 3 of the things. You know what I mean? My dogs ain't got COVID no more. You know what I'm saying? We out here. But nonetheless, it stands out to me that I think in the playoffs, it's going to be a little bit of a different story, but I don't have a choice but to pay attention to them. And yes, Amy, I am absolutely a LeBron hater. Can't stand him. I'm a Kobe guy. I'm a Laker guy. And so as a result, I ain't never liked LeBron. I'll be happy when, I respect him as, based on what you said, Highstar, because of longevity and the high level of play for as long as he's done it, 20 years. It is what it is. He's one of the greats. If I'm being realistic, he's probably a top 3 all time. He ain't number 1 because that's going to be forever Michael Jeffrey Jordan. But nonetheless, yeah, I do hate LeBron. Nonetheless,
that wasn't even.
I know, but you told me to look in the comments, so I looked in the comments.
Oh, yeah,
I went to the comments. It was in the comments. You know what I mean? It's a live show. What you want me to do, bro? So I'm gonna flip it back to you. Of all of the trades and everything that happened at the deadline, what kind of stood out to you the most?
The the Dallas situation, I feel like, as weird as it sounds, both teams
Not the
won.
cough.
As weird as it sounds, though, both teams won because get Spencer Dinwiddie, who's comfortable back there in that arena and in that city. Period. You bring up your boy Cam Johnson, and I'm sorry, Finney Smith or whatever, and then you got a young Cam Thomas out there or whatnot, who's a fan favorite and stuff like that. So they got something to build from. And then in Dallas, of course, now because of the situations, because of the preseason and all of the mess and wild stuff going on, Brooklyn lost as far as equity, but I think they knew that already. Like, and it was like a, what they call it, a burn fire or a burn
fire sale
or whatever. Yeah, like that's pretty much what it was, and they knew that. But it's like, okay, before the deadline, like
let's get everything we can get.
We talked about this on the side, but people talked about Kyrie or like in a negative connotation when he said that. But it was really,
looking out for them.
Exactly, because if I string y'all along and it gets past the trade deadline, I can just walk or whatever like that.
And they get nothing in return. They've at least had the opportunity to get something from them. Yeah. Now, 2 other points I want to say. I've never seen, and I put out on social media, one social media blogger dude's perspective on it, but I never seen so many second round picks traded. I'll give you, give me about 5 seconds. You 5-second picks, go for it. Right. And it's so crazy. And then they just flip them and all of that. But all of that being said, I think the biggest domino for me is going to be KD. And then let's talk on the Suns for a second. We know that Chris Paul is aging. I had him in my all-time starting 5, and then he's been sorry since then.
You jinxed him, right?
I did. Apparently, he's got the Carolina Sports Talk curse on him now. But if we're looking at the Suns, where do you rank them? Can they stay healthy? Are they going to have the ability? Is KD addition enough? Cam Johnson was a glue guy on that squad. Where do you rank them with their likelihood to win the championship this year?
Yeah, man. And shout out to Gerald and stuff like that. But they're just in the mix. I think the West is crazy. Granted, Kevin Durant is a difference maker. If you tell me this time last year I'm gonna have Kevin Durant, Chris Paul, Devin Booker, DeAndre Ayton, I'll just be like, yo, but anybody at that 4th spot or whatever, like or that 5th spot, I'll give you a fighting chance every day. And yeah, Kevin Durant is gonna transform lineup and the offense and stuff on the lineup, but it's gonna come down to, can the Suns not beat themselves as well, like just as organization and stuff like that. Like, but yeah, can you repeat the question?
What chances do you give them to win the NBA championship this year? Currently this upcoming season, currently sitting as the 4th seed. 40%. That's high.
38%. 36%.
It's going down as you start thinking. 12%, definitely nothing more than 12 or 11%.
And the numbers don't matter. It's like, in whose line is it anyway? You know what I'm saying? The points just don't matter. The numbers don't matter to me right now, bro. So
I like what 32%. You did there. That's a quality show right there. So I'm going to say this. The Suns will not win the National Basketball Association championship this year. Not going to happen, even with KD. I don't think that they are going
to answer the question that you asked me.
What percentage chance do I give them?
Yeah, man.
Be fair. If the person if the team that I think is going to win, if I give them a 30% chance, I give the Suns probably a 16% chance. And it's going to, and again, injuries are going to be a big part of it. We understand that there's a lot of basketball left to be played, and there's a lot of good teams: the Nuggets, the Grizzlies, the Kings. The previous we talked about the Suns, the Clippers. I don't like the Clippers.
When he first, first went to the Warriors, and then stuff went bad there, and he went to Brooklyn and then pivoted, and now he's in the Suns. I'm saying with the Suns rather. Not only is it still tattooing up his legacy or whatever as it's getting tattooed up, but like people see him as a hip hopper.
A journeyman.
Flopper. Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Let's
a nomad.
I know. But I don't. I like his game. I like him as a player. I still think that he's a top 5 all time. I still think he's a top 5 player in the league right now.
Thank you.
Top 15 all time.
Listen, bro, I hate all time stuff. So
listen, but it's literally for the purpose of debate, and you don't like to argue, so it's funny to me. Now, I'll tell you one thing that is unequivocally true. I got it out. The East is now the least. The majority of the top tier. Now, of course, we know Philly's still Philly. Boston is still Boston. But
Milwaukee.
Is Chris gonna play? Is Chris gonna be able to be healthy? Is because that's literally going to make or break them as a team. If Chris Middleton can stay healthy, because they are not a team that's built to the degree and to the level to be able to sustain any injuries, period, let alone to their main and primary shooter. So I don't know that I consider them. Although again, they are the second seed right now, and they're literally only a half game back of Boston. So the playoffs could very likely end up having to flow through Milwaukee. But at the end of the day, I'm gonna tell you this scary team that folks are going to need to keep their eyes on: the Cleveland Cavaliers. We talked about them a couple of weeks ago on the show, and they're looking good. They've made some adjustments and some moves that I feel like are going to benefit them in the long run. But them, to me, they're on the same level as Sacramento. They have my attention now. They're a team that I like, and I'm going to be paying attention to, and I might even tune in and check out their game. So shout out to the Cleveland Cavaliers and to the Sacramento Kings. I was like, what was that?
Exactly.
What's that live show? See, a lot of this is the stuff that we would edit out that y'all wouldn't normally get to check. But again, live show. Again, Big Cliff, Carolina Sports Talk, sitting in with my dog, DJ Highstar. So go ahead, bro.
No, I was going to say Patriot Patty.
Sitting here out here at Patriot Patty's studio. Shout out. You know what I mean? Even though the Patriots suck.
Whoa.
Now we got to go. So, folks, that's going to get in the show.
Exactly. It was good seeing. Let's unplug this.
Now, but yeah, so as we move forward, we're going to jump into our official big deal, no thing. So for those of you who are familiar with it, well, for who are not familiar with it,
That's a big deal.
that ain't no segment where we talk about headlines in sports and tell you whether it's a big deal or no thing. So second up, because we already did one, the Bears may trade or are looking to trade possibly Justin Fields prior to the NFL draft. Big deal or no thing?
No thing.
Nah, that ain't no thing.
That's a big deal.
I'm going the complete opposite way. Why you say?
Because I knew that you were going to say big deal. But I heard about this. I mean, since the lottery or whatever like that and stuff, it's you gotta sink or swim. You're gonna go one way or the other. I mean, I don't know. Somebody else is gonna land them, preferably.
Preferably. Do you want him in Charlotte?
I want anyone in Charlotte. Yeah.
You want somebody who's capable of throwing the ball and being dynamic.
Deja vu from a whole year ago. This is exactly what we were saying. And I believe that was deja vu from a year prior to that. That we were just saying, I'll take anybody at quarterback. And every experiment failed. But yes, I would take Justin Fields in Charlotte.
So
yes.
If we take a look at the free agent quarterbacks in the upcoming season, Derek Carr, who was recently released, that we'll definitely have to get into that a little bit more. Hopefully by the time we record next week, he will have had a team. I don't even want to say I hope it's not the Panthers. I would take Derek Carr as a quarterback of the Carolina Panthers at this point. I know it didn't work out for him in Las Vegas, but he is a substantially talented enough quarterback that with the proper coaching, and we'll talk about the Panthers coaching in just a moment, I think with the right coaching, he can become a quality starting quarterback. So I wouldn't hate Derek Carr there, although I would rather your boy. But Derek Carr, Baker Mayfield, Sam Darnold, Jimmy Garoppolo, Teddy Bridgewater. I think Daniel Jones isn't going to, even though he's listed to be a free agent, he's going to get franchise tagged. Geno Smith likely also going to get franchise tagged. CJ Beathard, Kyle Allen, Lamar Jackson also probably going to get franchise. So the list isn't going to, there's not going to be like a whole heaping lot of quality free agents out there. If Justin Fields is somehow made available, I think that he could be one of the marquee names in that, and I would love to see him in a Carolina Panthers uniform. I don't think that he's the best talent. We've talked about it. You even shout out to our guy
Eric.
I'm my guy Eric, man, the Chicago Bears fan.
Yeah.
Eric and I, you try to make it seem like I talk trash about his quarterback, but I'm not
on the spot. You got to kind of paint that picture real quick. We was all together kicking it, and yeah, I called him out, y'all, because I knew a Bears fan was right there.
He's like, but so you're saying basically that you hate that man's quarterback? I was like, bro, I never said that. I ain't a fan of his. Now, so you're saying as not a fan of his, you think he sucks? I'm not that guy.
I was not using that type of language.
It feels like it, but nonetheless, I admit it. I have publicly stated I don't like Ohio State. I caution against even dealing with and liking players from Ohio State. That being said, he is dynamic enough. Again, he has the physical tools. He can throw. Look who he was. Who was he even throwing to in Chicago last year? So all of those who say that he wasn't a passer, they said the same thing about Jalen Hurts and what he did. Balled out in the Super Bowl. Shout out to the Bros one more time. But I would love to be able to see Justin Fields in Carolina. But even if it's not, the fact that it's going to shape what happens with everything else, because not only does it affect where he goes in free agency and how what other teams are going to be trying to do, but Chicago with that number 1 overall pick, if they do deal him, then can start the board, and it's a pendulum drop then from there with the effects of how the other quarterbacks are going to roll.
Similar to what just happened in the NBA, the trade deadline?
Exactly, where that one thing can pivot other trades, people trying to get up because now they've taken a quarterback because as it stands now, they've got the option if they decide that they want to stick with Justin Fields, they can draft whomever they want as just an add. Look, if you look at what Aiden did with the Detroit Lions, he helped boost that defense into being a not top tier, but not bottom level performing team. I think that could be the same thing for the Bears to boost them. Or if they decide to trade, they can get a lot of different compensation. So for me, it's a really big deal that he's going to be doing that. So next up, the Carolina Panthers are assembling the Avengers coaching staff. Big deal or no thing?
Big deal. I guess you're going to get the context afterwards.
I agree. It's a big deal. You want me to go first on this one?
You got to get the context, brother.
So for those of you who may have missed it, first of all, what rock have you been under? Second of all, shout out to the Panthers, baby. We, after having not been necessarily wowed by our head coach hire, since then, he has assembled a staff of professional coaches. We've got coaches like Deuce Staley, who's been added to the squad. We are looking at some defensive back coaches. Jim Caldwell is a senior advisor. We've got another I'm trying to find that list that I just had, but nonetheless, we've got a lot of coaches on the squad now who are professional coaches who all have experience with multiple teams, several of which have already won Super Bowls, both as players and as coaches. And that is literally it screams everything that I was on this very program hollering about. We need the experience. And although Frank Reich has not won a championship, he's like, yo, where I'm weak, let my people be strong. Let me go ahead and bring some folks in. And so as a result, the coaching staff is turning heads, and I think it's going to be nothing but incredibly beneficial for the Carolina culture and for the franchise moving forward.
Yeah, again, big deal. There's the saying is there's 2 type of people in the world, and then you follow it up with the 2 type of people that you're talking about. But a lot of times there's more than 2 type of people in the world. But anyways, in this case, there's 2 type of people in the world. There's guys that get a situation like Frank Reich and say like, I'm going to be able to do this on my own, and I want my brand to go out there that
do it my way.
That this was the Frank Reich era, that it was all about me, and everything's gonna stop with me, and I'm gonna make all of the choices that I need to. And then you have people that build staffs around them with just people that are either even as skilled or proficient as you, or more proficient than you in certain areas. So
exactly,
that's the exciting thing about that right now, being a Carolina fan. I mean, I think you've kind of exuded that and showed that. I guess you're back on schedule with us. But nevertheless, it was cool. You just kind of sidelining and riding the side of the train car for a little bit, but I guess you're back in.
For me?
For the time being. Come in.
You talking about me or just fans in general?
No, you.
No, you. Nah, so check.
You.
No. I'm not back in.
What?
I'm looking. I'm peeking.
Oh, you still on the side of the car, like
I said it about 3 weeks ago on the show. Who they draft and what this staff does with regards to the moves in the offseason will determine if I remain a fan of the Carolina Panthers.
It's like you're in the city, New York, and you're skating on the back of the public bus right now. That's what you're doing. At any given time, you're just gonna be like, man, forget you.
I am one move away from not being a fan of the Carolina Panthers. That is how severe and how serious I am with this. Because and I'm not gonna get again. I spent too many weeks giving my diatribe and getting into it. But at the end of the day, I'm sick of mediocrity. I'm at a point with this franchise where I have given them all of my love, my peace, and like I paid my money. I've gone to these games. I've stuck by them. I've been loyal.
You've led the roaring riot.
Listen, I've been an officer for different chapters. Like I'm sick of it. I don't like to lose, bro. I hate losing, and as a result, my heart can't take it no more, man.
Yeah.
And so I can only give, but so much more. And so we'll see. I am very close to the comments. To the comments,
yeah, exactly. No, you gotta catch up in a second. They coming for you now.
Listen, hey, you better pack a lunch. You know what I'm talking about? But no, nonetheless, I am very much close to letting go of this franchise, and I never thought it like possible, but I am very much like I'm not talking about, I'm just not gonna watch them this year. If and or when I let go of the Carolina Panthers, I'm talking about I'm gonna be one of those guys who gonna put all the stuff in a barrel and I'm burning it. You feel me? I'm really there.
Oh man, yeah. Go ahead.
Let's go to the comments real quick before we move forward. What we got going on?
You can get some from like as far as comments from wherever you're drawing them from, but I'm here straight from our Facebook live feed. And shout out to everybody that was watching and stuff. Liz, she said the Panthers gonna get that root up off of them next season. Shout out to Gerald. He said, y'all Panthers got an all-pro coaching staff. And my man Tribble in there comes in with the Tribble commentary, and he said Reich is pretty much worse than Staley. And shout out to TJ as well, Corleone, for tuning in. He said y'all might know something. I don't know though. And you got people saying Triple said Dallas fans loyal. Liz said Cliff is fed up. And shout out to Mark Bright, who said shame. I don't know what that was alluding to. It's probably something. You know exactly.
So Marcus, that's my uncle. Shout out to my uncle who is a diehard. Like how I go with the Panthers, he's a Cowboys fan.
So that was perfect what Triple said.
Cowboys fans, if you even qualify. But nonetheless, it is what it is. Yes, Liz, I am fed up. Yes, I am at that point where it is what it is. I've been loyal to this squad for 27 years. How much more guy got to take, man? How much more? You know what I'm saying? That's all I'm asking. How much more? That's out. That's it. That's all I got to say on that, man.
Right, man. Shout out to everybody again tuned in and everything like that. And I know that this is new episode Wednesdays and all of that stuff. And if you had any kind of feedback and stuff, feel free to shoot us an email, cliff@carolinasportstalk.net.
NET, Carolina Sports Talk Troll. It's not .com. It's not nothing else but .net.
But also right here on Facebook, as far as to our Facebook audience, you can always join our Talk Back group, Carolina Sports Talk Back. But I had a question.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of, I want to introduce a new segment as we kind of wrapping up and everything like that, if that's all right with you.
Let's get it.
Right now, I'm working on a title. We're working through it. So audience, if y'all want to help me out with the title of the segment, that's cool. It's pretty much going to be a discussion question. So I'm thinking.
Embrace debate.
DJ. Yeah. But I always am thinking of branding, right? Because I'm thinking DJ Highstars. I don't know, star discussion or something. I don't know, spotlight discussion. I don't know. Yeah, I got it. We'll work through that. But anyways, the Super Bowl just finished up. We had, first of all, shout out Carlos Dunlap. You know what I'm saying?
Check down. We out here.
Fort Dorchester's very own.
Where is Fort Dorchester? Well, technically, y'all Charleston.
Off the fate. Shout out to Ashley Phosphate, Dorchester Road. You know what I'm saying? And Carlos Dunlap. Shout out to Robert Quinn as well. Shout out to all of our frat brothers that was playing in the game. It was a crazy joke. It was like, this is the first Super Bowl where, two brothers was going to be playing, talking about Jason Kelsey and Travis Kelsey. And it's like, for that same reason, that's the reason my grandfather won't be watching, is because two brothers will be playing. That was from SNL. But so we did have two brothers playing in the game, which had me curious and stuff of who are, some of your top professional siblings. And, I don't want to center it around kind of football, but I guess if the conversation goes wherever it goes, we can do that. But offhand, though, I got to give the Sharps their flowers and stuff. Sterling and Shannon of the world, man.
Okay. So are we gonna ping pong and just kind of name them, or
let's just have a little fun discussion.
Okay, so I'm gonna give you
and keep an eye on your comments or whatever.
Okay,
go ahead.
I'm gonna hit this guy. To me, the all-time greatest siblings in professional sports, Venus and Serena Williams.
All right, so you didn't even start with football. You're not even gonna give that okay.
I mean, because there's so many of them.
But all right, okay.
Because when I started thinking about it, I was like, "Yo, there's a bunch of siblings," and I know we'll have some further discussions, and we got a couple other topics with that through the next couple of weeks. But my mind went to like basketball, football, baseball, and I was like, "Who's the best ones?" At the level that both of them performed, there's nobody greater. Because so again, Serena is the greatest tennis player in history, and then you couple that with what Venus did in a separate career as well. She's probably top 15 to top 20 herself, and then you couple all of that with what they were able to do on the doubles circuit as well. To me, they're the greatest siblings.
Bro. I agree.
He's like, I'm not even arguing.
Could you give me a football one then? I mean, that's
one of the greatest football siblings of all time to me, if I'm being honest, Peyton and Eli Manning.
Go ahead, but
no. I'm gonna give them the props because and even the fact with again
coming in too. I mean,
not to mention Archie. Their daddy, you know what I'm saying, with all his tenure playing with the Saints and stuff. So they're just a football family. So yeah, shout out to the Mannings.
Hey, Liz, talk about some, and the Sharp brothers are fine. Hey, she know Shannon Sharp looked like Barney or whatever. They had that on. They had it on Instagram. They had it on Instagram.
Not the African American Barney.
Shout out to everybody commenting and stuff. But again, when we talk about football, I know Clay Matthews was one. I want to say Gronkowski did. His brother made the league as well, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
The
Griffins.
The Watts. Okay. 6 months, 2 years. But yeah, Griffins.
Yes. Shaq and Shaquan.
Okay.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Who else? Rondé. The Barbers.
Yep. Tiki and Rondé. That was something. They was twins. So shout out to McCourty.
Yeah, exactly. Jason and Devin.
Okay. Patty Studios.
I don't know if they were twins. I don't think they were twins, but the Khalil brothers. Matt and the one that played, Matt did end up playing for us too. But Ryan. Matt and Ryan Khalil, both of them were offensive linemen, so their names weren't as like. But both
Ryan
of them
Khalil was like that.
He was like that. They took the Charlotte Observer took out a whole page ad when he retired. But now Matt, not so much. He came from the Vikings in that big offseason deal. It's like, yeah, but you're not your brother though.
I want to salute to he's a fine Barney. I want to salute to our frat brothers, the Stews. Did one of them play baseball? Did they play baseball at all or not? They just straight media?
Yeah.
Straight media?
Yeah.
But still, shout out to them. They're in the sports world.
And in the brush.
Anyways, exactly.
What do you want?
But yeah, so I saw the Curry brothers mentioned, of course, in there.
Now if we're going to basketball, one of my favorite ones was Paul and Mark Gasol.
Okay, yeah.
I mean, of course, because the Lakers, but even the style and you could see that they was brothers, and like their camaraderie when they were both playing for Memphis and everything. Like I enjoyed watching them boys play.
Brothers,
Marquise and Marquise.
Yeah.
Now I thought when you if we're talking about Marquise. Back to football, Marquise Pouncey and his twin brother, both of them started at Florida.
Shout out to Pittsburgh.
I mean, exactly.
Yeah, you was right. Yeah, they was at Florida during the
that's a show in itself. That Florida squad, that all the cast of characters that they had.
We got some coming in. The Diggs brothers. We got some coming in.
Stephon and Trey.
Yeah, the Watts got 3 brothers in the NFL. Yeah.
Okay.
Brandon. Be Easy said the Wilkins brothers. Marcus and Markeith. When we talking about families and family names and stuff like that as well, though, how about the roles?
And Tron,
yeah. Shout out to the youth.
Okay, so do you think that is exclusively genetics, or is it for like the siblings component of it, or is it that the training and the upbuilding, and even those who may have had older siblings to have come through and established and paved the path and said, this is what you need to do?
Exactly.
Where do you lie with that?
So I think that it, again, is the siblings foster like a competitive spirit 24/7. So you constantly, whether it's just you getting the last piece of chicken, whether it's you running and get the last corner of Lucky Charms, you grew up trying to beat your brother or whatever like that, you know what I'm saying? Or whatever it is, especially video games, or if y'all just wrestling or whatever. So it's like, then to take it a step further, whoever that older sibling is, if they're doing their thing or whatever like that, again, like you see with the kind of the Peyton and the Eli, where they're just, that older brother will be like, oh, y'all think I'm all right? Wait till like how how Cam was with, what's his little brother's name?
No, Jarrell's his middle name.
Yeah.
But the brother didn't end up being that good.
Oh,
He beat UNLV.
Not at all. But that's what I'm saying. It could go either way. Mike, Vic, and Marcus.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Marcus was almost kind of like that. He just couldn't stay off the weed long enough. You know what I mean?
What I'm saying is, though, that competitive spirit between brothers, especially when, like, if you're world-class athletes or whatever like that, I'm not going to be, unathletic if I'm always chilling with my brother and he's
exactly,
playing football, running track, playing basketball or whatever like that. So yeah, I think it's just from hanging out with, I guess they make all of that osmosis. I don't know.
Right. Yeah. And for me, I think it's a little bit of both. Genetics absolutely play a huge part of it. Mm-hmm. If you don't have the programming in your DNA to be coordinated, to have burst, to have athleticism, you can try really hard, but you're only going to get so far. So I think that's just the baseline. But if you look at even like a Christian McCaffrey, his dad, Ed, who came through and was a dynamic tight end, but then said, I'm going to take the skills that I learned and the experiences that I have and make you better.
Which is another conversation, but yeah, definitely.
And so I'm saying, and so I think it definitely plays a part. I look at, there was a young man at Juju, shout out to Chris Davis, our frat brother. He coached in Orangeburg. Little white kid, might've been about 4'1", and he was the baddest kid on any playing field that he stepped on, because he had an oldest brother who played college baseball and then a brother underneath him who played college football. And so as a kid, they would train that little fella. And so he was at like 6 and 7 years old, breaking ankles and juking, and he was already involved in every sport. He was bad on football, baseball, like basketball. He had a 3-point shot as a 6-year-old, bro. That was wet. You could tell that the form and the time was put in. And so I think having that experience of a sibling or somebody, or even an older cousin, you talk about some of the roles, and we'll talk about some of those in another episode. But even with cousins, you have somebody who's there who gives you that experience and puts what they've learned into you to help you be that much better on the front end as well.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
You look like you had another comments you wanted to.
Yeah, and I want you to see him too. But yeah, no, absolutely. We got Cornelius Green says Santana and Sonoris Moss. Definitely
shout out,
my favorite. Again, me being
Harvey and Horace.
Let's go. Exactly. And then Jaron and Jason Collins. I'm not gonna laugh at. Well, I am laughing at them. But the Lopez brothers. That's what that.
The Plumlee brothers.
See, look.
Oh, Steph. Did we say Steph?
Yeah,
we did. Steph and Steph. Okay.
The people out there. That was one of the first brothers that the people out there put down. So yeah.
Oh, William Perry and Michael Dean Perry. Shout out. See, D, I started to say you're showing your age, but you're younger than us. But
we got Casper and Jasper Bunkley. Okay. Yeah. Nah, because I was saying the same thing. Yeah.
No, they were football players. Both of them played at Carolina too.
Yeah, they played at Carolina.
Be Easy says genetics definitely plays a part into it, and you say both. But yeah, definitely, it's definitely a good conversation. Give us your thoughts. You've got a bunch of them in the comments, but we'd love to hear what you got to say. Send us an email, cliff@carolinasportstalk.net.
A successful segment, you would say? No?
Yeah, we got that off. You did. We got to think about like a title for you, like you said, DJ Highstar's Gold Star Question of the Week or something like that. You know what I mean?
First of all, relax with the trying to be nonchalant, and then I'm gonna just throw out this good idea. Just relax.
Yeek! Straight in there like that. Hey man, we finna get up out of here, dog.
Look forward to more discussion questions and stuff.
Oh, absolutely. And if there's any questions that, again, you guys have anything you want to talk about, you want us to talk about the high school playoffs that are getting ready to start, that are blazing red hot throughout the state. If you want us to talk about your local golf team, send us an email, hit us up in social media, and we'll let you know from there. We'll get it. Highstar, anything you want to holler at people before we get ready to get out of here, man?
Yeah, man. Shout out to all of the A-list. Shout out to all of everybody that tuned in. Man, you know what I'm saying?
Hey, yo,
really appreciate all of the support and the engagement and all of that stuff. This was fly. We're gonna try to figure out a more streamlined way where we can kind of communicate back and all of that stuff. But this was a pretty good first line.
I rock with it.
You didn't even fumble like that, except for
because I didn't have to do it on the intro.
Hey, because it wasn't recorded.
Exactly.
It's ridiculous. Ridiculous, y'all.
Well, it's going to do it for us for another episode of Carolina Sports Talk. Thank you again for tuning in on our very first live. You can hit us up on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube at Carolina Sports Talk. Also, to be a part of the show, you can hit us up on the Carolina Sports Talk line, Cliff at carolinasportstalk.net. Until next time, we out. Peace.